Over several weeks in a New York federal courtroom, a classic legal drama unfolded. The prosecution called 34 witnesses, partners, employees, and sex workers. They alleged a culture of fear and control orchestrated by Combs. Texts, emails, and financial records mapped travel arranged for sexual purposes. Video exhibits provided visceral context for the allegations. Defense attacked credibility, motives, and memory. They admitted consensual filming, denied trafficking or racketeering. 12 jurors had to sift emotion from proof beyond a reasonable doubt. Their verdict could dismantle an empire or affirm a man's freedom. After days of deliberation, the jury returned a complex, nuanced verdict. Combs was acquitted of racketeering conspiracy and several trafficking counts alleging force, fraud, or coercion. Defense called it proof of government overreach. The jury convicted him on 2 Mann Act counts of transportation to engage in prostitution. Jurors found he arranged interstate travel for commercial sex on at least 2 occasions. Less severe than racketeering, but still serious felonies. Some emphasized acquittals. Others focused on federal crimes proved. One juror later said he got off easy. The verdict mirrored the case. Complex, contested, and debated without end. Trial facts. The Sean Diddy Combs trial has gripped public attention as one of the most shocking celebrity court cases in recent years, blending allegations of sex trafficking, racketeering, and abuse with the glamour and power of hip-hop's most influential mogul. At the core of the prosecution's case were disturbing claims that Combs masterminded a network of coerced sexual encounters, sometimes referred to as freak-offs, where women and escorts were allegedly transported across state and international lines for his pleasure. Federal prosecutors charged him under the Mann Act, a century-old statute that makes it illegal to transport people for prostitution or what it calls immoral purposes, as well as with racketeering conspiracy and sex trafficking by force, fraud, or coercion. These charges carried severe penalties, including the possibility of decades in prison if he was convicted. The trial took place in the Southern District of New York, presided over by Judge Aaron Subramanian, with jury selection beginning in May 2025 and testimony stretching over 7 weeks. The prosecution called 34 witnesses, including former girlfriends, male escorts, former employees, and federal agents, many of whom offered harrowing accounts of abuse, threats, and manipulation. Key evidence included surveillance footage, text messages between Combs and Cassie Ventura, and items seized from his residences such as large sums of cash and sexual paraphernalia. These details painted a picture of a powerful celebrity allegedly using wealth, fear, and control to create an environment where victims could not easily walk away. The defense, however, pushed back aggressively, insisting that the government had stretched the law beyond recognition. They argued that Combs was not a trafficker or pimp, but rather an indulgent participant in a consensual sexual lifestyle, even describing him as an amateur pornographer who documented private encounters. They challenged the credibility of witnesses, claimed that the prosecution was misapplying the Mann Act, and accused investigators of trying to turn consensual adult behavior into a federal crime. Despite the high stakes, Combs himself did not take the stand, leaving his legal team to fight the case on his behalf. After days of deliberation, the jury delivered a mixed verdict that shocked many watching the case unfold. They acquitted Diddy on the most serious charges of racketeering conspiracy and sex trafficking, signaling that the government had failed to prove beyond a reasonable doubt that he operated a criminal enterprise or coerced individuals into sex. However, the jury did convict him on 2 counts of transporting women and escorts for prostitution under the Mann Act. This outcome meant that while he avoided the possibility of life in prison, he still faced up to 20 years behind bars, with each count carrying a maximum of 10 years. The sentencing phase became just as contentious as the trial itself. Prosecutors pushed for a sentence of over 11 years, citing the seriousness of the conduct and its long-term impact on victims. The defense countered with requests for a drastically reduced sentence, arguing that his conviction reflected consensual activity criminalized under an outdated law. Meanwhile, the U.S. Probation Department recommended a middle ground of 5 to 7 years. Judge Subramanian denied bail pending sentencing, ensuring Combs remained in custody until his fate was decided. Beyond the courtroom, the trial ignited heated debate across media platforms and social networks. Some argued that the conviction confirmed long-standing rumors of abuse and power misuse in the entertainment industry, while others claimed the case demonstrated how celebrity status can both shield and expose individuals in ways ordinary defendants never experience. For many, the outcome raised fundamental questions about how the justice system navigates consent, coercion, and the gray areas of sexual relationships shaped by fame and power. In the end, the P. Diddy trial was not just about one man's guilt or innocence. It highlighted how old laws like the Mann Act are being used in modern cases, how prosecutors build narratives around celebrity excess, and how juries struggle to interpret the line between consensual indulgence and criminal exploitation. With sentencing and appeals still ahead, the case continues to dominate headlines, shaping conversations around celebrity accountability, sexual misconduct, and the balance of power in America's justice system. In October 2025, Sean Combs returned to learn his fate. He was sentenced to 50 months, 4 years and 2 months in federal prison. A $500,000 fine and 5 years of supervised release followed. Survivors detailed trauma and fear, including a letter from Cassie Ventura. She called her testimony the most traumatic and horrifying chapter of her life, fearing retribution. Combs apologized, calling his actions sick and disgusting, seen by some as genuine, by others as strategic. His attorneys slammed the sentence as un-American, arguing the judge relied on acquitted conduct. To many, the sentence marked tangible accountability for someone long seen as untouchable. Reactions spanned relief to outrage, ensuring debate would continue. Sean P. Diddy Combs faced one of the most defining moments of his career and life. In July 2025, he was convicted on 2 counts of transportation for purposes of prostitution under the Federal Mann Act, though he was acquitted of the most severe charges, including racketeering conspiracy and sex trafficking by force, fraud, or coercion. Since his arrest in September 2024, Combs remained in custody at the Metropolitan Detention Center in Brooklyn, after being denied bail multiple times due to concerns about witness tampering and his ability to influence proceedings. His sentencing, set for October 3, 2025, determined his immediate future, with prosecutors pushing for more than 11 years behind bars and the defense arguing for a maximum of just 14 months, citing the year he has already served in detention. The legal outcome would carry huge implications for Diddy's career, finances, and public image. Prosecutors have emphasized the seriousness of the charges and the impact on victims, while the defense points to his acquittal on more serious allegations as a reason for leniency. Reports indicate that the U.S. Probation Office recommended a sentence in the mid-range of 5 to 7 years, making it likely that the final decision will land between the prosecution's demand and the defense's request. If he received a harsher sentence, appeals were expected, but even a lighter one would keep him under close supervision and subject to ongoing restrictions. In parallel, Combs continued to face multiple civil lawsuits related to sexual misconduct, including high-profile cases that could cost him millions in settlements or damages, further straining his finances and legacy. Beyond the courtroom, the fallout for Diddy's future prospects is profound. His once untouchable reputation as a music mogul and entrepreneur has been severely damaged, with many brands, partners, and collaborators distancing themselves during the trial. His financial empire, which includes music rights, business ventures, and luxury assets, may continue to be targeted through lawsuits and creditor claims. From a security perspective, Combs faces risks both inside prison, where high-profile inmates often become targets, and outside upon release, where public backlash and potential retaliation remain real concerns. His legal troubles and the scandals surrounding him have permanently shifted his image in the entertainment world, making a comeback far from guaranteed. On YouTube, fans and critics alike closely followed every update on P. Diddy's sentencing, appeals, and future. His case has become a global talking point, blending celebrity culture, legal drama, and questions of accountability in the entertainment industry. With his sentencing imminent, the world watched to see whether the judge would lean toward leniency or deliver the long prison term prosecutors were demanding. Either way, it was a defining moment not only in Sean Combs's personal future, but also his legacy in music and popular culture. A judge granted a fast-tracked appeal, setting an accelerated briefing schedule. The core claim, the sentence improperly leaned on allegations the jury rejected. Meanwhile, Los Angeles authorities opened a new investigation into a 2020 sexual battery allegation. Combs was transferred to a low-security federal prison at Fort Dix, New Jersey. He is scheduled for release in May 2028, with potential credits for good behavior. A California conviction could add state time after the federal term. Filings and testimony pulled in celebrity circles. Association alone damaged reputations. Partners distanced themselves as endorsements, and partnerships crumbled. From glamorous stages to a prison bunk, an icon's future narrowed by timelines and bars. Power, wealth, and fame do not place anyone above the law. Survivors like Cassie Ventura showed how one voice can spark accountability. The case forced a public reckoning with the nuances of consent and coercion amid power imbalances. It highlighted tensions in applying century-old statutes to contemporary conduct. Celebrity scandals create collateral damage far beyond the accused. In the social media era, judgment is swift and context can be lost. This story is more than scandal. It's a mirror on power and justice, and on the blurry line between private behavior and public harm. The debates will continue. The consequences already have.
The P. Diddy saga is more than just a high-profile trial. It's a cautionary tale that carries powerful moral lessons for both established celebrities and those dreaming of fame. The first moral takeaway is that power and success do not place anyone above accountability. For years, Diddy was untouchable in the music industry, surrounded by wealth, influence, and celebrity friends. Yet when allegations of abuse, coercion, and misconduct finally caught up to him, the image of invincibility crumbled. For aspiring stars, this is a reminder that no amount of success can shield you forever from the consequences of your actions. Fame amplifies everything, both the triumphs and the darkest secrets. And the higher you rise, the harder the fall if you abuse that platform. The second moral note is the importance of character and the people you surround yourself with. Throughout the trial, names of other celebrities, industry insiders, and even casual acquaintances surfaced in ways that dragged their reputations into the spotlight. Whether or not they were directly involved in wrongdoing, fame seekers often believe proximity to power will elevate their status, but the Diddy case shows that toxic environments and questionable associations can stain your career permanently. Your circle reflects your values, and when scandals erupt, those connections can either protect your legacy or ruin it overnight. For aspiring celebrities, this is a warning. Align yourself with integrity, because the public will not easily forgive complicity or silence in the face of abuse. The third and perhaps most important moral lesson is that the pursuit of fame without grounding in values leads to self-destruction. Diddy's empire was built on ambition, talent, and relentless branding, but the allegations and testimonies painted a picture of excess, exploitation, and unchecked ego. In chasing influence and domination, he lost the very qualities, trust, respect, authenticity, that sustain true legacy. Aspiring celebrities watching this saga unfold should recognize that fame, built only on power, money, or notoriety, is fragile. What lasts is a reputation for decency, respect for others, and the ability to use influence responsibly. Without that foundation, fame becomes a trap, where every misstep is magnified and every secret eventually comes to light.